Really?
That was
Before
just getting. I was just getting them from LA when at the tail end of when I was with her. Yeah, I wasn't getting them from Holland yet.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
so you got them from Holland in the end.
In the end, why buy them from LA for $8 to $10 when you can get them from Holland for $2, $3 or less?
How did you manage to import
including all of the costs of the smuggling. How did I manage to get them into the country?
Yeah.
I had a lawyer advising me. And
That's Saul Goodman sort of lawyer.
don't try this at home, folks, because this was before 9/11.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't
so
get
you
away
just
with these
do
things
whatever,
now.
Yeah.
Right. So I had one woman actually. You can't just jump on a plane from Phoenix,
Yeah.
go to Holland, get the pills, and come back. Anyone coming back like that, it's a red flag. You've been to Holland. You're at least gonna have some weed or something. They think. So nearly everybody gets searched on these flights. I had one woman went to Europe, flew back not from Holland, from a different European country, and then flew to Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. She had them in vitamin jars in her luggage. She got stopped by customs. They took her in a room like this at the table, opened the luggage, took them out the vitamin jars, put them on the table. They said to her, "What are they?"
Yeah.
She said, "Vitamins." They said, "Cool." Put them back in the luggage and told her to have a nice day.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that simple?
They didn't know what ecstasy was.
They didn't. Yeah.
No.
Oh, you just never saw it.
This was like 90s, like mid 90s, late 90s.
Yeah, so just
the authorities weren't hip to it yet.
Yeah.
But the lawyer said, "Look, let's stop doing that. We've got to go through Mexico." So I had operations in Rocky Point, Puerto Penasco, had beachfront property, and the Wild Ones were down there as well, Wild Man and Wild Woman. So that then became a hub. Our smugglers would go down, fly over to Europe, then fly back from France, for example, to Mexico City. Then from Mexico City, which is on the far coast, the east coast, come over to my coast, the west coast, to Hermosillo.
Yeah.
I had this property in Rocky Point, and then the smugglers would bring the pills down there, and we would transfer the pills then to other smugglers. So these new smugglers would drive them over the Arizona border in like brand new SUVs, University of Arizona stickers on the vehicles, diving tanks, all this tourist stuff inside the SUV, and nobody ever got popped crossing the border.
Really?
Is that just because like the time then, or just because the border is so big they just can't?
Because we learned how to manipulate the border guys. Now, I mean, I was an illegal alien in America. I wasn't even supposed to be leaving the country. If I left the country and they stopped me, it was all over. It was all over. But I was so confident that I could just put on an American accent and show them my driver's license and say, "Have a nice day." I just went in and out like that. And the people who were taking these pills back over were just clean-cut young people, like, in the 20s, in the early 20s. Maybe they just like you guys, for example.
More than likely.
Just like they wouldn't be involved in some heavy drug transportation activity.
So as you're coming up to the border, what were you feeling? Like, are you getting more anxious?
Well, I'm not bringing the pills over. No, I've got people, young. I've got these smugglers from the scene that are taking them over in these brand new vehicles decked out with university stickers. So they look like university age, and the students. Because what happens is, there's a thing called spring break. This is the best time to smuggle.
It's the busiest time.
Busiest time. I mean, the border queue is for hours, and if you've got university-looking vehicles, university-looking people smuggling drugs, spring break. It's a needle in a haystack to the authorities. Yeah. So we try and time it for when the border was busy.
So what was the moment that things started to go downhill with this sort of thing? Like how you led up to you getting...
This scene starts out with all of the glamour and the glitz and everything, the excitement. But it ends in pain and suffering, and there's an apex and there's a crash. And I think the apex was probably 1999, when Sammy the Bull's crew were active, and my head salesperson got his teeth knocked out by Sammy the Bull's crew.
Really?
They lured him, I think it was to a nightclub in Scottsdale, took him into the restroom to do a deal. They said they were doing a deal,
Yeah.
and they just took all of his pills, took all of his money, and knocked his
Really?
teeth out.
What would
Yeah.
you have to do in that situation?
Right. I was trying to track these guys down, and then we got the feedback that they were clicked up with Sammy the Bull's crew. And I thought, right, time for me to leave Phoenix. And I
Yeah.
moved, I think it's about 100 or so miles away, to Tucson in Arizona.
Yeah.
Beautiful, most beautiful house I've ever lived in my life. It was up on the mountains.
Yeah.
To even get up the street to this community, you had to go through a gated, guarded
Really
sentry
nice, yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And if someone's come to visit you, he calls your house just to let them into your neighborhood.
Really?
You've got to give approval over the phone to the guard. So
Yeah.
I felt so scared by the threat now from this drug dealing lifestyle. It got so scary that I needed to live somewhere where people couldn't get to my
Wanted to
house.
get away from it all.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
out of the way.
Yeah.
Do you ever know what happened to Sammy the Bull?
Yeah, of course I know what happened to Sammy the Bull. During the time this was ongoing, I had a friend who was a topless dancer who had infiltrated his house,
Yeah.
and she was going like barbecues and stuff at his house.
Yeah.
So I was just fact finding and gathering information on him, like the crew was getting information on me.
Yeah.
So if certain things happened, we could respond in certain ways.
Yeah.
But what happened was, because Sammy the Bull had testified against John Gotti. You familiar with John Gotti?
No, I don't think that is.
Okay. If you look at the Mafia Council, the 5 families,
Yeah.
there's usually like a family that's the most powerful. It was the Bonanos when a guy who protected me called Two Tonys protected me in prison. He worked for the Bonanno crime family, but the Gambino family became powerful, and the boss of the Gambinos was Paul Castellano, and he said to his underlings, you know, if you get involved in drug money, it's the death penalty.
Yeah.
But he was taking money from drug gangs himself.
Yeah.
Paul was going around in a replica of the White House in his silk pajamas, losing touch with the foot soldiers. So Sammy the Bull and John Gotti was his partner in crime. John Gotti wanted to be the boss.
Yeah.
You can't just whack the boss.
Yeah.
That's the death penalty as well from the Mafia Council, because John Gotti, because he was taking drug money, he thought he was going to get a death penalty sanctioned by his own boss.
Yeah.
So what they did was they had guys in Russian fur hats and trench
Yeah.
coats whack Paul Castellano as he was going into one of his favorite steakhouses in New York.
Oh, really?
The Russians did it.
Yeah.
And they did, for a while, become the leaders of the Gambino crime family.
Oh, really?
John Gotti, they called him the Teflon Don because whenever he went to court, he had this brilliant lawyer and legal team,
Yeah.
and the charges would never stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sammy the Bull ended up, when the feds nailed these guys, Sammy the Bull ended up cooperating against John Gotti.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now Sammy the Bull's in Tempe, Arizona. When this stuff's going on, you know, I've got a woman who's infiltrated their organization, feeding us information. But the people who work for Gotti, they're in town as well. I think they've got a guy who's going to blow Gravano up. I think they've got a bomb. I think they've got a bomb. I'll have to double check that. I'll have to fact check that. But they're coming to kill Sammy the Bull.
Yeah.
Now the feds are watching Sammy the Bull as well. I mean, this is like a scene out of that movie. What's it called? There's that one movie where they accidentally steal the mafia's drugs, and they end up in LA at the end, where the mafia are coming and the police are coming and the feds are coming. They're all coming at once. And because Sammy the Bull got busted, it saved his life actually from the Gotti's crew.
Yeah.
Because all the Gotti people, they got arrested as well for coming to kill this guy.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, if Sammy the Bull was an operator, you could have gone on alright relatively, or do you think it still would have ended the same if he didn't exist at like the same time as you?
So Sammy the Bull got nailed, and I'm thinking, yeah, thanks, cops.
Yeah.
You just put my competition out of business.
You can't believe your luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that, again, was misguided, because all those resources they had on Sammy the Bull were then directed at me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So in
multi-agency resources were then put on me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I met a woman, and she taught me out the deal, and she saw how heavy things were getting.
Yeah.
And I quit, and I thought I got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the police had to catch you with the drugs, but
You
no.
don't have to,
All
yeah.
it takes is
One
someone from your
person.
past.
One person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The police had 10 witness statements against me. Yeah,
So that's
Oh,
not
really?
too many, really, though, if you think of it, for what it could have been.
it was enough though. These weren't well. After they arrested all my friends, over 100 people, only 4 of them agreed to cooperate, which was really good because that's how loyal everyone was. That's how
Very
tight we were.
much, yeah.
Sammy the Bull's crew, I think 57 people arrested with him, and they all agreed to cooperate.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you was running a more, would you say it was a stable operation compared to his?
Is it more sophisticated, like more thoughts went into it? Because you had like your business degree and everything, you can apply that. You're already in like the stock markets. You've got more of a business mind, and you're already running organizations in like the stock market, people working for you.
Yeah.
Was Sammy the Bull just kind of like a random person that just got into ecstasy?
There are elements of what you both said in the response to this. Now, I mentioned earlier how I came into the rave scene early and united all of these cliques. So I had a lot of loyalty from the locals.
Yeah.
If you want to take over a drug market or a scene like that, you've got to get the locals on your side.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the locals will determine what goes down because they're privy to everything going on in the streets.
Yeah.
If there was ever any kind of situation that I needed to get information about,
Yeah.
I had people on the streets, all these local people would tell me exactly what went down. People come to me because the situation happened, and I say, yeah, so-and-so's done this.
Yeah.
You know, this guy took your drugs or whatever. I could get all the information for them and
Yeah.
solve
Yeah.
mysteries for them, criminal mysteries, with these hundreds of people working for me. And I think what it was, you know, like I said in the beginning, I was giving the drugs away for free.
Yeah.
I never stopped giving the drugs away for free to
So
all
you
the
always
people
had
who
like
worked
the
for me.
community kind of for you.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
built
yeah.
a very tight community. We all knew pretty much where each other lived. When people were down and out or had situations going on in their lives, we'd all try and boost them up and help them psychologically. So there was this genuine friendship, this genuine bonding.
Yeah.
We were like a crime family.
It's like a sort
Yeah.
of community. Like,
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
we had a legitimate crime family.
yeah.
We even had crime family dinner every so often.
Really?
Sure.
Yeah,
Catch
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
I was well, where you kind of started out as one of them, you didn't just come in as like this big guy anyway. It sort of helped your cause a bit.
What it is, I think the rave scene attracts a lot of misfits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a misfit.
Yeah. People like
Yeah.
you with the
I'm
anxiety and
eccentric.
stuff as well.
So all these other misfits and eccentric people were working for me because we all got along great.
Yeah. You all understood each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what was the moment you got busted? How did that happen? How did it come about?
May 16th, 2002. I'm on my computer checking the stock market out early in the morning and then just like bang, 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 bang on the door. I look through the people, blacked out. Is it people coming to rob us or is it the cops? Whole place is surrounded.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So me and my missus, by the time we're going to let them in, the door just goes bam, just flies off the hinges. Yeah, hands above your head, stop. And then the detective, my nemesis, I call him Detective Reed in Hard Time. He's like, yeah, we've got you. You're a big name from the
Yes.
rave scene. It's all
Yes,
over
yeah.
Attwood. He's all just
Yeah.
like mocking it in my face.
Yeah.
And then my missus, I'm saying, I'm exercising my right to remain silent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm exercising my right to remain silent.
Yeah.
Trying to tell her, and they just drag me down the stairs then. Try and separate me from her and get her in the car and take her off.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, they'd already arrested Wildman, right?
Yeah.
So they had her in an interrogation room at Tempe Police Department.
Yeah.
And Wildman's in this other room and the doors are open and he's listening to what they're saying to her.
Yeah.
And because she wasn't in the mix, I kept her
Yeah.
separate from everything. They say to her, like, you've got to start telling us about him. Otherwise, you're going to be facing some very serious charges.
Yeah.
And next thing she said, she just heard Wildman's voice go, very serious charges. Very serious charges, my fucking ass. Daft fucking pig bastards. Don't fucking listen to
So
them.
he's not scared
That's
at
just
all, is
wild,
he?
man.
Oh, he
isn't it?
doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't care,
give a
does he?
shit. He's
Yeah,
like,
it's just normal.
I think I ended up in there and seeing some policemen around him, and he's like, daft pig bastards, call me fucking Matt Vicker. I ain't telling you fuckers anything.
Do you think
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
ever scared of him just
So-
because he was like that, or
Well, the police scared of
yeah,
him.
any police officer, so in random encounters, could you ever sense like a bit of intimidation or anything from them?
everyone who comes into his presence is intimidated by
Yeah.
him.
There's like an
Be-
aura about him.
Before we went to the True Geordie podcast, the last one with Wildman, we went to Nando's. Now, in Nando's, to get your food and your drinks, you've got to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
to
to the
the-
tills, yeah.
Right. So Wildman and me sit down. I think I went for a piss or something. And I come back, and there's a person at the table taking Wildman's order.
Oh, so
Really?
he didn't
Yeah.
even,
Didn't even
go
have
out.
to
Yeah.
carpentry.
And I said, why are you taking his order? We have to go over there. And he goes, there's just something about this guy. I felt like I needed to
Yeah.
give him his drink.
Yeah.
He's not causing any trouble when he gets up
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I suppose
yeah.
I would.
So he has this effect on everyone
Yeah.
everywhere he goes. I mean, he's
Yeah.
charming as all hell,
Yeah, he seemed like a
Yeah.
really nice guy.
but he's
Yeah.
got that animal look in
Yeah,
his
but-
eyes
yeah,
where
he
he,
just
just
switches.
like,
he could eat you if he feels like it in a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. So going
And-
back
But he
to
did,
the
so you don't get
as
it.
when you got arrested, when you was in the transportation going to, was it the police station you were going to, or would it be a jail you went to?
All right, so SWAT team comes in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
It was a multi-agency investigation, but the feds didn't want the case, so they gave
Yeah.
it to Tempe Police Department, my nemesis, Detective Reed. So first off, we all go to Tempe Police Department.
Yeah.
That's where they bring in the new arrestees in. And I'm seeing co-defendants now fill up this little area where they've got these cells. But after like a day, or I think it was in the night time, then they ship us over to Sheriff Joe Arpaio's jail system
Yeah.
and talk about horrors.
You knew what he was in
That
for.
place is the horror place. No, I didn't.